welcome to the 3 biggest reasons that prevent business owners from writing a book and how to overcome them. I'm Mary Rose Wildfire McGuire, and thank you for joining me. We're going to cover a lot of information, and I'm going to try to put it all in a very succinct way, and it's going to be fast moving, but my intent is to encourage you to write your own book. So please, at this moment, turn off your phone, close your door, click out of other windows, and focus. Consider this practice for when you write a book, because believe me, you're going to have to try to avoid as many distractions as possible so that you can concentrate and focus on what you need to do. So right now, it definitely is time to focus. I've got a lot of good stuff to share with you. So what you're about to discover is where to start. We're going to talk about 2 questions to build a strong foundation for your book. Also, if you don't think you have enough time, I'm going to share with you some easy tips for quickly organizing your thoughts and ideas. And then finally, we're going to talk about the investment that is required when you write a book, financially, emotionally, and mentally. So the bold truth of writing a book and recommendations for overcoming these obstacles. So this is for you if you are a business owner who wants to promote your authority. It's also for you if you feel like you're lost in a sea of competitors, wrestling with differentiating yourself, or frustrated because prospects just don't take you seriously. And then finally, if you are someone who has had to lowball your fees or prices to get sales, this is definitely for you, because I'm going to say this throughout the presentation: expertise costs money. So people understand that when they're dealing with an expert, it's going to cost them a little bit more than if they were dealing with someone who was just a beginner or even intermediate. Experts command a higher price. So imagine if you could wave a magic wand. People would seek your advice knowing you already established yourself as a credible authority in your field. Prospects are impressed when they receive your book. They're open to learning more about your business. And then finally, your friends and family refer others to your book, proud that they know an author. Now, just to let you know, your mileage may vary for this, because I know that when I came out with my book, I sent it to my family, and some family members congratulated me and made comments, but there were some that didn't say anything at all. So just know that the important thing is that you write the book. Okay, so you may get some positive feedback, you may not, but the important thing is you did it and it's out there. So why should you listen to me? This is a very good question. I've worked specifically with CPAs and financial advisors on helping them write and publish a book. I've also been a copywriter for over 14 years, writing sales copy, web copy, email copy, sales letters, case studies, sell sheets, white papers, and more. So it's safe to say that over the years, I've written a lot of words. And I have also included that now in my guidance for writing a book, specifically a lead generation book. Finally, I've written and published my own book, and I've lived to tell the tale. So why am I telling you this? Well, writing a book doesn't have to be intimidating. A good lead generation book only needs to be around 100 pages for a 5x8 format. You don't, just so you know, you do not have to think that you have to write a war and peace length novel in order to make an impact. In fact, shorter books do better with as far as lead generation books go. Your reader doesn't have time to sift through a lot of information. Often they're just looking for quick solutions. You want your business to stand out as the solution provider that is a perfect fit for their needs. And what is important is defining your message and getting it written in the clearest, most succinct way possible. So today's 3 major topics, I'll go over them again quickly here: not knowing how to start, not feeling as though you have enough time, and then finally, the investment of money, emotions, and thinking. So we're going to dive right in. Reason number one is where to start. You need to ask yourself two questions: why and who. You have a lot of information about what you do. So first you want to ask yourself, why do you want to write a book? Why do you want to write about the topics you've chosen? And most importantly, why now? Anyone who has been involved in sales understands there needs to be a sense of urgency for a prospect to make the buying decision. If they think that everything's fine or that they can live with whatever they have at the moment and it's, they'll endure it or they'll tolerate it or it's not that pressing of a problem, people many times won't make the decision to buy. So in your book, you need to include the sense of urgency. You need to bring up maybe current events or stories that tell what happens if they don't make the buying decision, what happens if they don't decide to act now, okay? Why now? So that's an important part of writing a lead generation book. You also need to focus on your target audience. Who exactly is your reader and why would they be interested in your topics? So I have a image there on the right that shows, and I didn't create this image, I found it, but I liked it because I thought it was a good visual of what goes into a buyer persona. So large companies will often hire a marketing research firm to do this for them, to find out who is their perfect buyer and what are some of the common traits or the common interests. What do they have in common? So the market research company oftentimes will go on the internet, maybe they'll conduct some in-person interviews or by phone. And what they're trying to gather is information such as the gender, the age, the geolocation, the income, ethnicity, sometimes the educational level, sometimes interest. If you get into, those are demographics, but psychographics would be the interests. What kind of books do they read? What sort of magazines do they read? What type of television shows or films do they watch? What kind of hobbies do they have? What do they do in their free time? What does a perfect day look like for them? That is when you can start to create a buyer persona. And you start to understand, after you ask these questions over and over again, you start to get a feel for who the main buyers are of your service or your product. Now, if you can't outsource this to a marketing research firm, you can certainly do it on your own. You can ask your current clients or customers some questions. You can ask them to fill online surveys or questionnaires. And it always helps if you bribe them because people a lot of times will not do things just out of the goodness of their heart. Many times you have to bribe them. So if you give them a gift certificate or a discount coupon for completing a questionnaire, you usually will get a pretty good response from that. But it's important to find as much information as you can about your target audience, about your reader, because you're going to find out why. But you want to dig deep into who they are and what makes them tick and what worries them, what keeps them up at night. It's important also to define not just what you will say, but why you're saying it. Your concern and your message's sense of urgency will come through the pages and equip your content to be more compelling. So no one wants to read a boring book. Okay, that's, I probably shouldn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. No one wants to read a boring book, but if you're passionate about what you do and you're excited about the solutions that you're offering, let that come through in your pages. Let it come through in your writing. It definitely will hook your reader and make the content more compelling. So I'm going to share with you my book story, which was I wanted to help practitioners in the financial world understand marketing better and give them marketing tactics that would make a difference in their business. That was my why. My who actually changed over the course of writing the book. I originally wrote it for CPAs and accountants, But midway through writing the book, I started to work more with financial advisors who were more open to trying new marketing ideas. So my who changed, and I adjusted the book slightly to include them. Again, this is nothing, I want to make it clear, this is not a slam against CPAs. The accounting profession has gone through so many changes over the past 40 years regarding marketing. And many CPAs are still a little hesitant to investigate or explore and try new approaches for their marketing. Financial advisors are a little bit more open. So that's why I went the route that I did. Excuse me. By identifying a niche, financial advisors, it allowed me to reach out specifically to them and offer specialized marketing services. So the more you work with a particular group of people, and this would be a niche, it could be a niche profession, it could be a niche group of people, like maybe women over the age of 40 or older women. But whatever your niche is, the more you get to know them, the more you can offer customized solutions for whatever it is that they're challenged with or whatever they're struggling with. So that's the key to having a niche. And when you write a lead generation book, the more that you can write it for a particular niche, the better. It's going to help you in the long run. So I'm going to give you a few action items after each one of these points. Take some time to figure out your why. So again, try to go into an area where you're going to not be bothered, not be distracted, not be interrupted, because this sort of activity requires your complete focus. You want to figure out your why first. What is the message you want to communicate to your target audience? And then also, you want to figure out your audience. The more specific, the more it will help you create book chapters that will speak to their needs. So book chapters, the title of these chapters are important. And when you have a niche audience, you know who you're talking to, and you can craft those chapter titles exactly to their needs. So there are what I call these lead generation book types. There are three basic ones: the Big 10, the secret sauce, and the how-to trail guide. We talk about the pros and cons of each of them in my program, which I'm going to be explaining what my program is later on after the presentation. But I'll just give you sort of like an overview, a quick overview of what they are. The Big 10, that is a book that has a title such as The 10 Biggest Mistakes People Make With, or The Top 10 Secrets of, or The 10 Ways That You Can, whatever. So the number, it's a number 10. And the nice thing about that is it lends itself really well to developing the book chapters, because each chapter can be devoted to one of those points. So that's the Big 10. The secret sauce is if you have a blueprint, a process, some kind of a special way that you do what you do. And if you have a process or a system, you talk about it in your book, and you realize that you're not going to go real deep into detail. Many times people have said to me, well, what I do is proprietary, and I'm afraid that if I detail it too much, that my competition will read the book and they'll steal it. And that's fine. And that's a valid concern. I'm not saying that's not valid at all. It is. What you want to do in a lead generation book is share just enough of that to tantalize your reader, to arouse curiosity, so that they read it and they think, okay, I want to find out what the rest of this system is all about. And they call you and make an appointment to find out more. So that's the secret sauce. The how-to trail guide is a good choice for someone who doesn't feel exactly confident in thinking of themselves as an expert. So many times people who know a lot, there's a lot of humble people out there too, and they don't, they kind of consider it tooting their own horn, and they don't feel comfortable with that. So the how-to trail guide is a good choice. And Imagine yourself as a Sherpa. I call it the Sherpa type of book, where you're explaining to the reader how you got where you got to on your journey. And what you're saying to them is, here's what I learned so far, and hopefully this can help you. And won't you join me on my journey? Because I'm not finished with it yet. So the how-to trail guide is basically passing on that knowledge in a very low-key way. So that's the how-to trail guide. Okay, we're going to go on now to reason number 2, how to find the time. This is a biggie because many people, I mean, and I get it. I mean, I talk to business owners all the time. They are busy, they are time crunched. Where do I find the time to do this? Okay, so where to find the time to write and publish a book? The good news is that it is doable. When you realize that you only need to write around 500 words per day. Now, to give you an idea of what that 500 words looks like, if you took a Microsoft Word document and you chose a 12-point font, 1.5 pages would be about 500 words. And that's it, 1.5 pages. So if you think that you could, if that's a reasonable amount for you and you think you can do that daily, you're on your way. That's just 500 words per day. We only have so many hours in a day, and it's important to discover ways to get your expertise onto paper in the fastest and easiest way possible. I'm going to share a few tips here on that. First, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my experiences, and that is I was a dating coach, a relationship coach for single women over 40. I wanted to write a substantial ebook helping women over 40 find love. So my challenge was, where do I find the time? Since I had an office job, so I was working from 8 to 5. My solution was that I got up a little earlier each day and I would write for 30 minutes before going off to work. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water because I can tell that I'm starting to sound like a frog. And I know that's not, that's not real fun to listen to. Excuse me. Okay. So to begin with, I started with an outline. What did I want to communicate to older women? What were their challenges? I already knew many of them because I didn't get married myself until I was 39 years old. Now, one of the best things that I did, and I recommend this all the time because it's so good. The best way to discover your target audience's pain points is giving free presentations and leaving plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So I gave a lot of free presentations. And at the end, as the women started to trust me, they started to open up a little bit more. And at the end, when they would ask questions, I would write down a lot of questions. And what happens is after you give your presentations over and over, the same type of questions start to come up. And those are the ones you want to focus on with writing a book. The more you understand what your audience is actually looking for, and by the way, it often is not what you think they're looking for. You're going to be surprised. But the more you find that out, the more specific you can get with writing your book and developing the content. Okay, so here's some action items for you. Make a commitment to yourself that you will carve out at least 30 minutes out of your day to focus on developing your book. And it could be, for me at the time, it was in the morning, but for you, it might be in the afternoon, maybe after lunch, maybe closer to dinner time, or at night. It could be late at night when everybody is in bed and you finally have some quiet time to yourself. But make a commitment to yourself that you're going to try to at least put in 30 minutes out of your day to focus on developing your book. The other is setting yourself up for success by always carrying a notebook with you. Big ideas, they often come when you least expect them. For me, a lot of times in the kitchen while I'm cooking, I've had some great ideas or epiphanies when I'm involved in that. You can use a dictation app on your phone to make recordings when you're unable to write. So when I'm driving, there have also been times where I've come up with some great ideas when I'm driving, but I can't write at the time. So I take my smartphone, I quickly, get to my voice recorder app, and I just hit the record button and I just talk, and then I stop it. And of course, I'm trying to do this. Sometimes I'll pull over if it's something that I think I'm going to be talking for a little bit, because, it's not good to be distracted when you're driving. I understand. But voice, voice apps, voice recording apps are really great to do that with. Google Docs also has a dictation feature. So if you download the Google Docs app, there is a little microphone in the area where you could type text. But if you press that microphone and speak into the Google Docs app, it will actually transcribe your whatever it is that you're saying at that moment. So the only thing you have to remember is, saying things such as full stop or period, next paragraph or line break. Just figure out what you need to say so that you're adding a little bit of punctuation into it. Otherwise, after you're finished, you may just have one big giant block of text, which isn't bad. You can certainly go in there and add your punctuation. But Google Docs, it's free, and that is another way of getting your thoughts out. The other is in the shower. This is something I just discovered recently, and I'm like, oh, where have you been all my life? It's called Aqua Notes. You can get it on Amazon. So Aqua Notes is a block of specially coated paper. It's like a pad of paper, specially coated, and it's in a holder that you can attach to the inside of your shower. And it has what looks to be a pencil. I don't know if it's really a pencil. I haven't bought this product yet, but at any rate, if you have ideas that come to you in the shower, you can have a pad of paper there and just scribble it. Just, scribble out or write real quickly your idea, and then you'll have it. Because I've heard that. I get my ideas in the shower too. So that is a little recommendation for you. Finally, ask someone to be your accountability partner and share with them your progress. You want someone in your life who is encouraging and positive. So stay away from the people who are always critical of whatever it is you do or shoot down ideas. You don't want that type of a person. You want someone who is supportive and who is going to encourage you to go for it and to complete this task. So having someone that you're accountable to can really help keep you on track. So reason number 3, this is something that a lot of times people don't realize when they think about writing a book: making the investment financially, emotionally, and mentally. So there are 3 areas of your life that will be significantly affected when you write a book: your money, your emotions, and your mentality. So let's tackle first the finances, because a lot of times people are like, I have no idea how much it's going to cost me. I probably can't afford it. But, it just depends on how much you do yourself. So the cost of writing and self-publishing a book can range anywhere from about $600 to over $100,000. Now, the $600, that kind of range, is if you write the book on your own and you only outsource the formatting of the book into a print version and a Kindle version, and maybe a book cover. So it's doable for about $600 that you can do that. The $100,000 other end of the spectrum is if you go the route of a vanity press. So if you go to someone and let them know, I want to write a book, and they're like, hey, we've got this great package and we do everything for you, that's what you're looking at, is a higher investment, because they're going to handle the writing of the book. They're going to handle the book cover design, give you a really professional look. They're going to do the design and formatting of the book interior. And they may even do some marketing for you also. So again, it depends on how much you want to do yourself. The emotions, I call this part the mindset battle. It has to do with how you see yourself as you're writing the book. More on this later. Foreknowledge is forewarned. Okay, so just understand that as you write a book, you're going to have to deal with thoughts that might be overly critical or, you know, casting doubt on what you're doing. It's a battle, the mindset battle, and everyone who's creative goes through it. So we'll touch upon that a little bit more later. Mentally, it takes a lot of mental energy to organize and develop a book's content. Just be prepared for a lot of deep thinking. The thing is, you know how to do so much, okay? But I would place a bet that you have never put everything that you know how to do into words. That's why it requires mental energy, because you're going to need to put into words what you know and to write your content in such a way that your reader is going to be able to understand it. So there, and there's a lot of times you might assume that people have a certain level of understanding about something, but they don't. So when you write the book, you kind of have to, you know, and I don't like using the phrase dumb it down, but you have to realize that whoever you're talking to probably doesn't have the body of knowledge that you do. And this is why you're an expert. So just be prepared. It requires a lot of deep thinking. Yes, a lot of mental energy. So here's some ways that you can take action. First, you can research the costs of writing and publishing a book. You can check out sites such as Fiverr or Upwork to discover various fees for editing and book cover design. I highly recommend looking into hiring someone to do editing for you. It is, and I even do this for my own. I mean, I did this for my own book, but I do it for my own copywriting. When I do copywriting for clients, I'll look it over and then I'll ask my husband, you know, what do you think about this? And get someone else's eyes on it, because you're too close to the subject matter. So many times when you're writing something, you might write something and the thought is in your mind, but you don't explain it. And you jump to another point and something is missing from the writing. So that's why having a good editor is worth their weight in gold. The other is book cover design. You want your book cover to look as professional as possible and not amateurish. So you do want to invest in a good book cover design. If you're good at working with design templates, I recommend checking out BookBrush. So it's BookBrush. I believe it's bookbrush.com. BookBrush is a platform for authors offering templates for ads. So they have lots of templates where you can upload the image of your book cover for Facebook ads, social media ads, just, you know, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. And you can customize these templates, the font size, the fonts, the font type, the colors. You can do so much to customize these ads so they look great. So BookBrush is a great resource. You can also create a book cover design in it also. The other is keep a journal. So if you don't already, it can be a great place to write down your emotional challenges whenever they arise. So remember when I was talking about the mindset battle, this is an antidote, or this is the solution to the battle. Have somewhere that you can write down what you're struggling with, maybe whatever the emotional challenges are. Maybe there's some thoughts coming up of, you know, your English teacher telling you that you'd never amount to anything, you know, whatever it could be. I mean, it could be something like that. Someone making fun of you, or someone mocking you, or someone criticizing you. And those feelings rise when you're trying to focus on writing a book. So having a journal is a great way to address those challenges, and also a great place to just vent. Because once you get it out of you, then it's on paper, it's done. Okay, your brain is now free to focus on what's really important, which is writing and finishing your book. Processes and systems work wonders when you're writing a book. So consider creating a tracking system or use a notebook to write your ideas and thoughts down so you can develop them as book content. I recommend either keeping a binder or a notebook so you have one spot where you keep track of everything. You can do this, of course, through your laptop or your desktop computer. I always recommend having 3 copies. So save 3 copies of everything just in case a computer glitch happens and you lose everything. Okay. It's a nightmare. And I always gasp when I hear about somebody having that happen to them where they have a manuscript and all of a sudden it was accidentally deleted. So this is why you want to have 3 backups. Have 3 copies of everything that you do and put them in different places. Keep a copy on a USB drive. Keep one in the cloud. Have one on your hard drive. So you want to make sure that there's always, your manuscript is safe. And your notes also are safe. So, but have one place where you can develop everything. So far, we covered how it's crucial to lay the foundation for your book by asking yourself the 2 questions, why and who. Once you answer those questions, you're going to find that it's a lot easier to get started on writing your book. Find time to write your book by making a commitment to write daily. Once you commit to writing at least 500 words each day, you'll give yourself the advantage of building momentum. And then one day your book is going to be finished. So imagine if you are able to write 500 words daily, multiply that by 30 days, you're going to have a 15,000 word book. That is more than enough to have a 100+ page book in a 5x8 format. So again, you do not have to have a super thick book in order to make an impact. As long as it has a binding on it, has a title on the front, it looks like a book, it is a book, I mean, people are going to pay attention to it. Prepare yourself for this journey by realizing you will need to make an investment financially, emotionally, and mentally. This is an investment that will pay off big in the long run. So I will say it is more than worth it. Yes, there's a lot of effort that goes into it, but it's worth it. So I hope that you get this one thing. Writing and publishing a book is going to put you in a rare category. Plenty of people say they want to write a book, but few do it. And since I have become more of a ghostwriter, I will tell you that there are people that I've come across that, yes, I want to write a book. And some of them, they kind of get halfway. So they have a good idea, but for whatever reason, their focus gets diverted and it gets put on the back burner and they don't complete their book. So few do it. So if you do it, just understand you are going to be in a rare category when you write and publish your own book. People know it takes time to do it. Plus, having confidence in yourself. So when people see that you have a book, they understand that you have confidence in your skill set, confidence in your knowledge, confidence in what it is you know how to do. A published book tells the world that you're willing to put yourself out there and you know you have valuable expertise. People recognize that you are an expert. This makes a huge difference in the way that people perceive you. People are looking for experts. When they are out there searching for a solution, if you have a book, it's instantly going to put you heads above all the other competitors that don't have books. So I know what you're thinking at this point. How do I make this happen? So you have 3 choices. You can either do nothing. So everything that I just shared with you, you're like, oh, that sounds good, but maybe someday, but not now. And that's fine. Or you can figure everything out on your own by trial and error. You can say, okay, I'm going to start watching all these YouTube videos and do some research. I'll figure it out. Or you can work with a proven process, which is now what I'm going to introduce to you, my proven process. Get your book written and published with Book It. Book It is an 8-week guided writing program to get you started with writing your book. It is a combination of do it yourself, done with you, and a little done for you. So I've got a lot of great stuff to share with you if you decide to do this and join us in this program. It is filled with lots of resources on how to develop your book, self-publish it, use your book as a lead generation strategy, and more. So during the 8 weeks, what I do with the members that join is we get on a Zoom call once a week, and there's a curriculum we follow, and I present the information regarding whatever that week's topic is. The Zoom call gets recorded, and the replay is put later on in the portal, both the video replay and the audio. So you can listen to just the audio on your phone if you'd like while you're driving somewhere. But the point is that the content is there. And then each week I also have other resources that I will put in the portal. So who this is not for, if you're unwilling to put in the work, it's not for you. It does require effort. It does require time. And I am here to encourage you and cheer you on every step of the way. But if you are unwilling to put in the work, then perhaps this is not for you. It's also not for you if you've been in business for a short time. You might not be ready yet to develop a book. And I do say yet. Someday you may be, but right now you're still acquiring the skills, the information, the expertise in order to write a book. I hope that what I presented has given you some good ideas on what you need to do now in order to be ready someday to write the book. And then finally, if you're not open to having a big mind shift, and I'm talking about tackling the inner mental battle that we referred to earlier, and truly believe you have a story to tell, this program might not be for you. So in other words, yes, we need courageous people who are saying, yes, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to finally take the deep dive into writing a book. So why I created Book It, I created it for the person who wants to get started on writing a business book, but not sure where to begin. There have been many times I've met people, and when the subject comes up about what I do, there, many times, oh, I've always wanted to write a book. That's the response. And then my reply is, why haven't you done it yet? What has held you back? And more times than not, the response I get back is, I just don't know where to start. So that's why I created this program. I want to help people get started, get their ideas off the ground and headed in the right direction. I also created it for the person who wants to complete this project in weeks and not years. If you went the route of a traditional publisher, yes, it takes 2 to 3 years to get your book out to the marketplace. Now, sometimes they'll rush certain books through in order to get them up, out there, because it could be like a hot news item and somebody's written a book about it. But the reason it takes so long is because there's a lot of people involved in the decision making. When you're dealing with a traditional publisher, you've got different departments. You might have somebody who's gone on vacation for 2 weeks and you have to wait until they come back, so there's a lot of inching along and toward the goal line. But if you want to create and write and publish your own book, it is doable to do it in weeks and not years. And then finally, I created this program for the person who is ready to let their brilliance shine. I come across all the time so many people who are smart and have so much to give. And I want to work with those people and let their expertise, let their brilliance shine into the world. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview here of what the 8-week program looks like. So week 1, we talk about the 3 whys. And I do have a form that I give to the members where they can fill it out and to really take the time to think this through. Why am I writing this book? And, who is this for? So we talk about that. Week 2 is creating the bones of your book. This is where we start to talk about the outline, the book chapters. What are those going to look like? Week 3, discover the quickest way to get the information out of your head and onto paper. So I talk about different ways to do that, different techniques. Week 4, creating an intriguing table of contents. So if you remember, or and I have a feeling you probably have gone to Amazon and there's a book you want, there is that feature, look inside. That is an important feature. And I share with you some little tricks of how you can take advantage of that feature, even if people don't buy your book. But the point is people are looking at the table of contents. So we talk about how to create an intriguing table of contents that is going to reach out to your perfect target reader. Week 5, how to choose an eye-grabbing book title. So there is an art to crafting a really good book title, because this is going to be, again, what captures attention of your potential reader. Week 6 is interview time. Now, this is where I will get during this week, I get on a Zoom call with each person individually, and I record the Zoom call. The member at that point in the program will give me what they have thought about regarding their outline and their book chapters and what they want to talk about in their book. And what I do is I just interview them. I ask them lots of questions. We go through it together. It's recorded. And then after it's finished, I then send that recording to a service to get transcribed. And then I will give that to you. And what that is your very first rough draft of the book. Once you have it in black and white there, you can see where you want to make changes. Maybe you want to elaborate a little bit more in this area. Maybe you want to switch the chapters sequence. Okay, instead of this being chapter 3, I want this as chapter 7, or I want to bring it up front. I want to delete this area. I really don't want to go into that, that portion of that chapter, So once you have it in front of you as a document, you can start to massage it and tweak it and start to edit it. And of course, add to it. Week 7 is the extra stuff. So we talk about author bios, calls to action, and marketing. So these are the important areas of writing a lead generation book that is going to, again, elevate you to a level of authority in the eyes of your reader. And then week 8, we talk about the nuts and bolts of publishing your book with Amazon. I'll share with you some stories that I have experienced with Amazon, and design and formatting and book covers. So we cover all of that at the very end. So I do keep this program small because I give a lot of individualized attention to each member. Okay, I only take 5. So not only will you have access to live weekly classes, but you're going to have access to me through email, phone, or a Zoom call. Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire, length of the program, I am here for you. So whatever is, convenient for you. If you want to hop on a Zoom call, we can do that. If you want to have a phone conversation, we can do that. And send me questions just through email, we can do that too. Whatever it is, whatever support you need, I'm here to answer questions and give you feedback. So I have some fast action bonuses. This is if you're watching this and it is still hot off the press and you act quickly, you can get some fast action bonuses. Bonus number 1 is a deep dive call on identifying the right audience for your book. So if you act quickly and, send me a message, and I'll explain that later, on your interest in the program and you're accepted, this bonus is going to help you identify who the right audience is for your book. So I would say many times, especially with financial advisors, they have different types of people that they reach out to. But, through me asking you some questions, we can help you narrow that down so that we can identify the right group of people for your book. Bonus number 2 is a customized book marketing strategy. So as you're nearing the end of writing your book and getting everything wrapped up, that's when you and I will get on a call, and I will, well, I'll ask you some questions first. Again, I'm always asking questions. And we'll talk about some various ways that you can market your book. And then finally, a customized authority bio. Now, this is a very important kind of a bio. If you go on most websites, they will have an about page. And sometimes they'll talk about, how they got involved in whatever it is that they do, or maybe share a lot about their hobbies or their family life or whatever. And an authority bio is not that. An authority bio is a bio that is written to highlight and showcase your best achievements, that will basically support, I almost said undergird, but I mean, I don't even know if that's a word, but it supports your perception of being an authority, your perception, the perception of you being an expert in doing what you do. So I have a particular way that I write an authority bio. And as an example, you can just go to my website, look at the about page. My bio is an authority bio. And so what I will do is bonus number 3, you're going to get a customized version of that. So I will work with you. I've got a template that you'll have to fill out a little bit. And then I write according to what you give me in that template. So are you ready to slay your dragon? Okay, this is a battle worth winning. This is one of my absolute favorite phrases, audentes fortuna juvat. It is Latin and it means fortune favors the bold. And it's so true. It's like, if you don't take a risk and you don't push yourself a little bit, you're not going to get the benefits. You're not going to get the rewards of doing that. So this is a battle worth winning, as far as, getting through the mindset battle, getting through the obstacles. It is worth it. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the One Thing book, but the One Thing book story, and written by Gary Keller, explains what they did. His company already were successful, but they still were not acknowledged by the very top people in their industry. And so they were trying to come up with ways to change that. What could we do to increase increase our what am I trying to say here? Increase the, I know I keep saying perception, but anyway, increase the recognition. Well, they came up with 100 ideas, and then they narrowed it down to 10. And then out of those 10 ideas, they chose one idea, which was that Gary Keller would write a book. And so that's what he did. And it's amazing because it worked. 8 years later, that one book not only became a national bestseller, but also morphed into a series of books with a total sales of over 1 million copies. In an industry of about 1 million people, One Thing changed their image forever. So I tell you that story to let you know that you have no idea the difference that writing and publishing your book is going to make with your business. But it won't happen unless you do it. So you have to commit to doing it. But that one thing can change everything. So a good lead generation book can be used as a referral system, okay? Or within a referral system. Your current clients and customers, oftentimes when you ask for referrals, they're not sure what to say to people, okay? So you can take that burden off their shoulders by simply giving them your book and asking them to pass it to others who may need your product and or services. It is one of the best ways to refer people to you. So if you consider yourself a self-starter and have a deep entrepreneurial mindset, then this program is perfect for you. So here's bottom line time. So we're going to talk about the price. The other guys, one of them, they have a fast start program that goes for around $1,500, but you get no thorough treatment of your book idea and no marketing resources. A high-level vanity press will usually, their average cost is around $40,000. So if you went that route, to get your book up and running, that's, it's not an unusual number of what it is that it would cost. If you hired a ghostwriter, you will invest around $11,000 to $30,000. Now, it could be a little bit less than $11,000 depending on how long the book is. If it's a super short book, you might get it written for a little under $10,000. So it could be $8,000 or $9,000. But that is what you're looking at to hire a ghostwriter. But you have to think about how much is new business worth to you, okay? So the cost for the book an 8-week program is only $995, okay? I've kept this price this year, but I will definitely be raising this price next year. It's not going to be this price next year. So next year, the price is going to go up significantly because I do put a lot of my time and effort into the program because I want you to succeed. But next year, the price will be increasing. But here's even better news, okay? If you sign up today, and again, this is a limited offer. So if you're watching this, you'll have to check whatever is around the page to see if this still applies. But if you sign up today, you'll receive $100 off plus all the bonuses, bringing the total to only $895. Plus, you're getting over $2,000 in bonuses. So that's why I said, yes, I'm certifiably nuts, because I like to give a lot of stuff away. I am generous to a fault. And, but I just, it's because I want to help so many people. And I want to make this as doable as possible for you. So again, I only have 5 spots available. So if you want to sign up now. Now is the time. Our start date will be Wednesday, September the 21st. And we will then be meeting every Wednesday after that. The finish date, the last class will be, I think it's the first, or now I'm trying to think, second week of November. But anyway, it's 8 weeks from that September 21st date. Instead of sending you to a sales page, this is where I would like you to go. HTTPS, as it says there, starmaker.kartra.com/page/book inquiry. This page is basically, it has a form to fill out. Now, it has more information on that page about the program. So you can, read it thoroughly and take a look at it and understand what everything is, what's involved and all of that. But I'd like you to send me the form because I want to make sure there's room for you to join us. So the last thing I would want anyone to do is to go through the process of signing up and then finding out that all the spots were taken. So you'll receive an email after completing the form, and simply respond to the email with your interest, and then I'll follow up with you. So that's it. Fingers crossed that you will be joining us. I always get so excited about this program because I love hearing people's ideas. Past members have had some fantastic ideas for their book and have learned a lot and have been greatly encouraged to move forward with their dream of writing and publishing their own book. And I hope that is you. So thanks so much for watching, and thank you for joining me. And I hope to see you on the other side.